That's right, in its most recent counteroffensive in the east, Ukraine was able to liberate 388 settlements and 8,500 square kilometers of its land. And as a result, for the very first time, Russia acknowledged its defeat. But you know what? This does not stop Ukraine, because according to Mikhailo Podolyak, Ukraine is ready for its final strike. And even though right now Donetsk is under severe attacks, it might not be as easy to liberate it. At the same time, the situation in the south is deteriorating faster than anticipated for Russians. And that is why so-called Kharkov 2.0 is expected to happen in the south any day now. And as a result of all of this, Russia is preparing another gesture of a goodwill in Crimea. But more about all of this in just a couple of minutes. What's up, investors? It's the Russian dude, and let's go straight to the point and talk final details about Ukraine's counteroffensive in the east. First of all, as you can see from this video, the President Zelensky arrived himself in Izum. He gave an encouraging speech to the soldiers and participated in a flag-raising ceremony. Then we have this video from Grigorievka, and you can see Ukrainian soldiers also installing the Ukrainian flag. And then, according to several reports, Russians abandoned their checkpoint in Virichovka. But what makes this specific place so interesting is that it is located on the territory of Russia. So I guess it is pretty safe to say that Russians are already running away from Russia. Now let's go really quick over the most recent map updates. And as you can see, first of all, Ukrainians were able to cross Oskol River. And while this might not sound significant, to be honest, water obstacles are considered to be one of the most complicated obstacles during any war. And that is why Ukrainians crossing river in this territory allows them easier access to the northern part of these occupied areas. And then if we go a little bit more to the south, we can see that Ukrainians were able to liberate a significant territory next to Rubtsy. Alright, and now let's talk about the chances of Ukrainians of liberating Donetsk in the nearest future. And while I'm going there, please consider liking this video and subscribing to my channel if you like this style of daily updating. Okay, so according to this article, at this very moment, Donetsk is under intense attacks. In addition to that, the local authorities are calling on civilians to evacuate. And if you remember from past experience, every single time an evacuation was announced in a specific area, this was a premise to liberate this area. And indeed, if you remember from my previous episode, there are several reports claiming that Ukrainians are assembling in this area. And there are two major directions of the attack will be against Vuhledar and Mariinka. And even though this might look promising, unfortunately the actual liberation will most likely not happen in the nearest future. This is also confirmed by the military expert Oleg Zhdanov, who is saying that it will be extremely difficult for Ukrainians to breach the lines of defense of Russians in Donetsk, who they were assembling for the last 8 years. Oleg Zhdanov also mentioned that liberating Donetsk face to face will be close to impossible. And according to him, one of the potential ways to retake this city will be to surround it both from the south and from the north. And first of all, the area to the north must be liberated, but as we already know, Ukraine is exceptionally successful. And before I talk about Russians wanting to literally drown the entire city of Kryvyi Rog, here is just a couple last words about Donetsk and Luhansk. First of all, in this video from Luhansk, we can see Russian soldiers who recently arrived from the battlefronts. But the Russian army wanted to reuse them immediately and send them to defend Donetsk region. In response to that, the soldiers started protesting, and later they were joined by their relatives. And what they say is that they don't want to go defend Donetsk because they barely escaped Kharkov. Alright, and now as promised, we'll talk about Russians wanting to put the entire city of Kryvyi Rog under the water. First of all, in this video, we can see one of several Russian missiles which is flying towards the city. As a result of this attack, a water restraining infrastructure, such as dam, was destroyed. The water level in local rivers started increasing and carried away small bridges. And ultimately, as you can see from this map, several streets and parks inside the city were under the water. And by the way, if you want to see the consequences of this attack against the city, as well as other footage that I was not able to use in today's episode, please consider checking my Patreon. All the proceeds will be donated to Ukraine, and you can find all the useful links down below. Alright, and now let's go to another major point of this video, which is a rapidly deteriorating situation for Russians in the south. But first of all, allow me to quickly show you just a couple of videos from the same region. First of all, as you can see from this video, Russians attacked Mykolaiv, and as a result of this missile attack, a civilian building was destroyed. And then, as we go a little bit more to the south, we can see that Ukrainian air defense system in Odessa intercepted a Russian missile. Okay, now let's get to the map updates. First of all, according to several reports, a fight right now is happening for Davidov Brid, and reportedly Russians are losing and they started to retreat. And the importance of this city once again is that it is located on the right side of Ingulets river, and if Ukrainians are successful, they will be able to cross it. Then we have other reports saying that Ukrainians were able to liberate Kiselyovka, and as you can see, as soon as this city can be liberated, the only last remaining city between Ukrainians and Kherson will be Chernobyevka. And even though the counteroffensive in the south might not be as fast as in the east, according to Natalia Gumenyuk, pretty much the entire Kherson region is within the range of Ukrainian missiles, which is then also indirectly confirmed by the same military expert Oleg Zhdanov, who is saying that Russians have only like 1-2 weeks left in Kherson. Right now, one of the potential reasons why Ukraine is relatively slow in the south, it is because they're still crossing the rivers. But as soon as they will be able to do it and capture the major cities along the way, this is when the Kharkov 2.0 can start in the south. And most likely, just like in the east, Russians will have to retreat as fast as they can and abandon their military vehicles and equipment. And you know what? According to once again Natalia Gumenyuk, several Russians are already arranging their surrender in the south. And yeah, I mean, once Ukrainians will be able to retake this territory, liberate Kherson and then cross the river, this is when they will start pushing Russians even deeper into the south. And because of this, according to the defense intelligence of Ukraine, Russians are already evacuating their important people from Crimea to Russia. The first people subject to this evacuation are Russian infiltrators, FSB agents and some military commanders. These people are reportedly trying to sell their real estate in Crimea and contain the spread of misinformation, not to cause panic among civilians. And the reason for this, and you guessed it, is so that they can quietly leave the peninsula. And all this is once again confirmed by the same military expert Oleg Zhdanov. And according to him, Russia is bringing its fleet, aviation and other military vehicles as far as possible from the combat borders, which potentially means that we might expect another gesture of a goodwill from Russians in Crimea. Alright, here is your quick summary of the day. After the mind-blowing counteroffensive of Ukraine in the east, Russia for the very first time acknowledged a defeat. And guess what? According to the report by the Institute for the Study of War, Russia is transitioning the blame for this defeat from Putin to his military advisors. And I mean, yeah, usually it's the managers who's supposed to take the blame for their employees' mistakes, so it looks like that Kremlin has a pretty toxic work environment. And at the same time, according to the same report, there are assumptions that Russia might use this defeat in Kharkov to promote a full mobilization. But so far, there is no legitimate evidence that this mobilization will happen anytime soon. And then we have this statement by Mikhailo Podolyak, who is saying that Ukraine is ready for its final strike. So it's like, yeah, Russia, you can acknowledge all the defeat you want, but we will finish what we have started. And in order to do this, Ukraine will need long-range missiles to destroy Russian military equipment in the back, then they will need armored vehicles to perform the actual counteroffensive, and finally they will need air defense systems to protect its own back. And finally, according to the ex-marshal of the UK Royal Air Forces, Edward Stringer, there is 30 to 40% chance that the war in Ukraine will be over before Christmas. Welcome to another episode of Ridiculous Russian Propaganda. And right here we have the governor of Khabarovsk region, Mikhail Degtyaryov, who is saying that it is his dream to go as a volunteer to Ukraine. But at the same time he is saying that, well, I'm the governor, so I do have some responsibilities. And you know what? Some Russians created this online petition to make the wishes of Mikhail Degtyaryov come true. In case this petition is successful, he will be relieved from his duties as a governor and sent as a soldier to Ukraine. And as for now, it has more than 5,000 signatures out of 7,500 required. And right now I want to personally say thank you to Klaus Winter Nielsen, Big A, Steven Kaiser and Donald G. Freeman for becoming my most recent channel members. And if you want to support my work and unlock some benefits, please consider becoming my channel member as well. Also, if you want to see the updated statistics about Russian losses, feel free to join my Discord. And yes, it's completely free. Thank you so much for your attention, stay safe and see you tomorrow.